Good evening, everybody. My name is Ramona Goolsby, and I'm running for the New Mexico Secretary of State. Yay! I want to tell you just a little bit about myself. I moved to New Mexico in 2019 for a VA contract because my husband, Mark, wave your hand. There's my husband. That's my better half. Yay, Mark. Because we were getting ready to retire. We were ranchers in Oklahoma, and I was a medical provider, a nurse practitioner. And I asked him, anywhere in this country you want to retire? And he said, Albuquerque. And I said, really? And he said, yes. Because his mother grew up in Albuquerque. His grandparents were here. He came to Albuquerque every summer of his life, and he loved it. He loved the people. He loved the food. He loved the country. And as a child, he knew nothing of the politics. So I said, well, let's check this out. And so I came, and I was doing contracts to help the veterans. I'm a veteran myself. I served in the U.S. Army Reserve Nurse Corps for 5 years, 2291st, Section 3. Our main base was El Paso. I was telling Mr. Gable that we lovingly called it Hell Paso. But yeah, so I did time. I served time in El Paso as well. But one of the things that I realized when I was doing my contract at the VA was the beautiful people that we have here. We have amazing veterans. We have people that love this state who have been here for a long time. But the one thing they told me is we need some political change. So I agreed to move to New Mexico. We moved to Rio Rancho, but one of our agreements was that I wanted to make sure that we were part of that change, that we helped make this a better place for everybody. And that is what we're about, is making this a better place. One of the things that I wanted to go over with you was the new automatic voter registration started July 1st last year. So if you have signed up or renewed your driver's license, you might want to check your voter registration, because I have had people tell me that theirs has been changed. And if you are not registered to vote, we have Lisa in the back. She can check your registration, and she can register you to vote tonight. Now, there are several duties of the Secretary of State, and I'm going to go over some of them. She is the keeper of the state seal. She administers the ethics department within the office. She is the holder of the oaths of office for the officers in the state, registered trademarks and corporate charters. She does UCC filings and ag liens. She oversees the referendum petitions and filings, in charge of the notaries, but most people know her as the state elections administrator. This is a huge job. And one of the things that I like to say is that people who understand having multiple jobs at one time are the people that you need in place. And I can tell you that I have done that. I have managed a ranch, run a medical practice, and been in the reserves at the same time that I taught advanced life support for children. It's doable, and I can do it. Now, one of the biggest questions that we get as we have been going around the state is my stand on voter ID. And I want to be very honest and upfront, because that's what I think politicians lack, is being honest and upfront. So, no, I am not a politician. I am a statesman. Voter ID is an 80-20 issue, not just nationally, but in the state of New Mexico. I have had Democrats, as I've talked to them on the phone, tell me that their party has failed them because they don't feel secure in our elections. It's an 80-20 issue, and if it is an 80-20 issue, then people need to pay attention, and they need to make sure that the people get the security that they want. Now, the Secretary of State office is an executive position, which means she does not make law, but she can influence law. And she can ask that laws be put up for the legislature. So yes, common sense voter ID. Now, those that say, I had a reporter call me and say, well, what about women who get married? And I said, I'm a woman. I've been married twice. My first husband passed away, and I have Mark. And I said, you know what? I was able to get a driver's license, and I was able to get my voter ID. I said, women are smart. They are able to do most things that many men can't. And so to think that women aren't able to get an ID because they got married, I said, that's ludicrous. And so I think if there are true issues, and I'm sure there are some true issues, then let's help them. Because you can't get anything in life anymore without an ID. If they can't get an ID, then they can't get their cold medicine. They can't check into the doctor's office. They can't get on a plane. So if someone is having problems, let's help them. I mean, truly, let's help them. The other thing is voter rolls. Yes, New Mexico's voter rolls are a mess. I have a company, it's called Gabby Center for Accountability. I established that company several years ago because people were having problems getting information, believe it or not, from their government. So I have become a professional IPRA filer and have found some amazing things, and one of these days we will share it all. We don't have enough time here. But one of the things that I do get are New Mexico voter rolls, and I get them quarterly. And I have a national organization that actually analyzes them. And I got some in March, and we currently have 3,815 people, dead people, on the rolls right now. And as far as errors go, we have several 100,000 errors on our voter rolls. Now, errors can be mistypes in addresses. It could be people who are registered at businesses, which is not legal. So there are things that need to be done about their voter rolls. And one of the things that complicates it is the fact that we have non-documented residents that are able to get driver's license. And so they're automatically registered. And during the hearings, I testified against this. And one of the representatives, Janelle Ananayu from Albuquerque, her district has a lot of non-documented. And her concern, and I admire her for this, speaking out for her constituents, is her concern was that someone would get registered and not understand that we have an opt-out system now. That means that if you get on the rolls, you have to send a paper back that opts you out. And so she was assured that that wouldn't happen. But when you look at the form and you look at the voter rolls, I think you'll see that her concerns are true. Now, I can go on, but what I would like to do, I have a few minutes left, I would really like to open it up for questions. We have a mic here. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody?
I've stayed quiet for a very long time in a matter that is very important. There was written death threats made against me. These weren't rumors. They were real, actual written threats with the person signing it and even put their phone number on quite a few. There was lots of police reports made in the same manner. And it's like nobody seemed to take the person serious. Well, a DPS officer or PD officer did take the person seriously and got her for harassment and stalking. Despite all the evidence that was against her, she was let out of jail with no bond, just set free. I was left feeling completely unprotected and in fear for my life. This isn't about politics or personal issues. It's about safety. Mm-hmm. When someone makes direct written threats, they should be taken seriously. No one should ever have to feel their life doesn't matter and nothing is being done. You say I got a question for Judge Green because he was that judge that allowed the person to go free.
Can you please get to the point?
Okay. I wanted to ask Judge Green, if you... No, I know.
Oh.
I'm trying to find out where he's at. Would you do things differently than what you did that day by...
I'm sorry, but that
Yeah, that is a,
point of order here, whatever.
Well, I would answer the question, what would he do?
No, you can ask him on your own time, and this is her time and our time.
I'm sorry if I didn't, if I wasn't clear. Any questions for the Secretary of State candidate? And I hope that you do get your answer, ma'am.
Mrs. Goolsbee, what do you think the chances the Save America Act is going to be passed? And if it doesn't, what do you think we need to do?
As you know, Congress is a mess. I have been to the Hill 2 years in a row lobbying for the Save America Act with AMAC Action. I was the CD1 delegate. And to get them to pull together and get it done, I don't see, it would be a miracle as far as I'm concerned. Although I do believe in miracles, I hope everyone here does. Keep praying, and actually AMAC just sent out an action report and asking people to contact. So I did contact Heinrich and Ben Ray Lujan, who sent me back the generated letter. But what could we do in the state? Again, that is a legislative issue. And I do believe that common sense ID is something that people can agree on. Again, it's an 80-20 decision. It's an 80-20 proposition. People want to feel secure in their elections. And if that helps people feel secure, then what is the harm, right? So that is my answer. We should work with the legislature on that.
Good afternoon, God bless.
Thank you, he has.
My name is Marcy Chavez, and my question to you is, if you have proof, and I'm gonna speak in politics, because this is for politics, and there's no accountability for actions taken, or how do you say, no action taken at the same time?
Yes.
Where there's injustice instead of justice. And I'm talking about our politicians, you know, that have been in office and the ones running. So it has to be very important, because the way that I've seen it, it's not even about Democrats or Republicans. They're both alike, you know? And unfortunately, this turns around into corruption. So my question to you is that who, because I've been doing this for the past 6 years, who do you really go and report such actions or activity, I'm gonna say, and this accountability of politicians?
I think that's a great question, because accountability is a big issue. One of the things that I have done is file ethics complaints, close to 100. And believe it or not, many of them are actually adjudicated on, and they are taken, action is taken. There are several places. If it's criminal activity, You can report to the Attorney General's office, which I have had complaints transferred over to the Attorney General's office. There is the auditor who can also, if it's a public official, and the, like I said, the Ethics Commission. If it's specifically election-related, you can also, there's an ethics board within the Secretary of State's office, which will be very active when I'm elected. Thank you very much for your time. God bless you all, and safe travels home.